So we're back with another video, and we're going to go ahead and dive into the reading segment. So we're going to be talking about modesty protects what is precious, and like modesty in general. I know that last time we talked about beauty is deceitful. So if you guys haven't watched that video, go ahead and go back and watch that. So like, yeah, y'all. But anyways, basically last time we talked about how beauty is deceitful, and if you're not using it for the right ways, then it can be deceitful. So now we're gonna go into the modesty part, like I said, and I want to go ahead and say again that my book Carly T. Hebrew is on Amazon, Kobo, and Kindle. So it would be nice, you know, if you guys could support. But we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So modesty protects what is precious. The way a person dresses can influence the kind of attention they receive. While every individual is responsible for their own actions and thoughts, and clothing can lead send signals, invite certain assumptions, or attract motives that are not rooted in respect. Some men may respond with lust rather than honor, focus on the body rather than the soul, approach with desire with no intention, or mistake exposure for availability. This is not excuse disrespectful behavior. Every man is accountable for self-control and how he treats others, but wisdom also recognizes that presentation can shape the type of attention invited. Modesty can be protective. It helps filter shallow intentions, focus from body to character, preserves the mystery and dignity, and can reduce attention rooted only in lust. And many say, you know, modesty is born, and that, you know, like, because you gotta think about it though. We live in a world that teaches women to be exposed. Like I always like to talk about, celebrities is the main like agenda for this generation. So what they would do is they're going to promote women that is exposed, or like talk ghetto, or talk about having a single parent household, that talks about scamming dudes, that talks about not being submissive, because they want to tarnish the mind, and they want us to not think the way that the Bible tells the women how they should present themselves or live, and instead look like the world, because that's Satan's ultimate goal. And he runs the world right now, not like the Father does. Of course, he, you know, the Father is the author of everything, but I'm saying right now, he has some dominion right now on the earth, and he is trying to pull as many people as he can to come with him into the eternal lake of fire. So his ultimate goal is to change our mindsets in the way that we think, so that way, once this mindset up here is focused on lust, vanity, and all these things like that, you know, exposure, then that what leads to sexual immorality, and that can lead to vain imaginations and stuff like that. And that's what keeps the cycle to keep going. So if we want to change that, and if we want more peace on the earth, then we're gonna have to keep his commandments and keep the things that are spoken in the Bible and reverse what's going on in this earth. And the only way we can do that is by cracking and opening up our Bible. So you have some women that will say, you know, that modesty is boring, and I will be the one to say that I was one of those women that used to say that. First starting off in the truth, I was dibbling and dabbling in the world, and you know that the Bible says you cannot serve two masters. So if you're trying to serve the Most High, and then you're trying to live in the world at the same time, it doesn't mix. You're going to end up looking like the world more, because that's what you desire more. So you have to desire the Most High's word more. And that was one of the first things that I felt like that kind of helped change my mindset, is when I got into modesty and changed my viewpoint on it. It made me take the truth more serious, because now, you know, I'm not focusing on my outer appearance, but I'm focusing more on the sense of my inner woman and who I am eternally, rather than exposure and what I have learned from the world patterns and the trends that we have. So that can be a little tough in the beginning, because it's like, dang, you know, you see everybody else, you see, when, especially if you're a young girl, you're going to school, you see other girls, you know, dressing a certain way, then you feel bad that, you know, and I can only probably imagine like how some sisters that are in the truth, you know, that identify themselves as Israelites, are going to school and they have, you know, their dresses, their skirts, they're dressing modestly, no exposure, they got on their fringes, how people may look at them. But at the end of the day, you know, you're gonna feel like, have y'all ever seen that picture with a whole bunch of white sheep and that one black sheep in the middle? Like, we're literally that black sheep. Like, out of all the outsiders, you know, we may be looked as different or boring or old school, but at the end of the day, we're pleasing the Most High. And once you start dressing modestly, I promise you that you will never look back, and you will feel like a real life princess sitting on a high tower, okay? Because we were royalty, and we lost that by following the way of the heathen, by following the way that they tell us to live. So, but modesty is not boring, it is beautiful. It is beauty of self-respect and discipline, elegance, peace over performance. There is a quiet confidence in not needing to display everything. A woman who knows her worth does not need constant public proof. What is precious is often guarded. Jewelry is placed in boxes. Treasure are kept insecure. Sacred things are handled carefully. Likewise, the body should be treated with honor and not turned into public competition for validation. For those who are in spiritual perspective, modesty can also be a part of guarding your mind, your heart, like I said, and your atmosphere around you. And it can be a way of resisting influences rooted in vanity, lust, comparison, and seduction. Some describe protection from harmful spirits or energies attached to pride, lust, and confusion. Whether one uses spiritual language or practical language, the principle is similar. What you normalize around yourself affects you. Your body is not a merchandise, it's not a public currency, and is not your only value. In marriage, physical intimacy is meant to be shared, trust, covenant, and honor, not consumed casually and by public eyes or shallow motives. That is why many choose modesty, not fear, but wisdom, not hiding because they are ashamed, but covering because they know that they are valuable. So yes, so when you understand that your body is not just a display object to be bought and to be used, you know, you are more than your body, okay? You bring more to the table and you bring more to the plate. So I'm gonna give y'all a little story time when I was in elementary. So we know elementary, middle school, like those type of relationships are really not relationships. You know, we don't really know what love is. I remember it was this one little boy, and I used to like wear shorts and like, you know, different things. But I think around this time it was hot and stuff, so I would wear shorts and stuff. And so this one little boy, around the time he started liking me, around the time I was wearing shorts. And I remember one day I stopped wearing shorts because I feel like it was going into the colder seasons, and my mom didn't play that, you know. She would dress me up real nice and stuff like that. And so this little boy told my son, if you're not gonna start wearing shorts again, then I'm not gonna want to be with you anymore. And I'm just like, me looking at it now, that was just lust. You know what I'm saying? Like, how you gonna say you don't like me no more because I'm not wearing shorts no more? So it was lust from the beginning. So sisters that feel like, well, men, you know, or especially, well, the women that's living in the world, you may feel like, dang, you know, well, I don't want to, you know, dress modestly because I feel like I'm not going to get the attention that I used to. But first of all, you know, that is vanity. That's vainglory. You know, you want an attention from men. You want like an approval from men, and that can draw you away from the Most High, because not only are you displaying your body as an object and for exposure and for attention and likes and validation, you know, but you are going against the Most High's word. We're not supposed to be here to please men, first of all, and we're not supposed to be here to display our bodies for exposure, which can cause a man to sin, or can cause a man to think you know, little on the offside about you, because that's all that they see. And you would notice, and what's something that I noticed versus when I was in the world, you know how them old men be at the gas station, boosted up on the cut. And they will always try to holler at you, especially at that gas station, around the liquor store and gas stations. And I noticed the difference between me dressing, modestly, that I didn't get as much as the hollers as I used to, because that was lust. And if you want a good man, you're going to have to have respect for yourself, most importantly, and dress modestly. Because once a man that actually wants to crave a woman that's put up, that's submissive, that honors her body, that's what the men you're going to attract. But if you're displaying your body as an object for exposure, sex, and vanity, then that's what you're going to get. And then what you would have women do is they would get online and then they would make videos and they say that men aren't S-words. They're not like these niggas. They would say that all the time, but then you have to really ask yourself, why are they not shit? Now you have some men in this world that really ain't. Like, they don't, want to walk in the ways of Christ, and they really want to hurt women. You have some men that want to be narcissistic, that want to abuse women, that want to do these things. But there are some good men out there, okay? And we can't just say that the whole bunch is bad, because that's not true. And how would you feel if you be like, well, they gonna think all women are bad, and when there's not, all women are not bad. So something is wrong. It's either you, or it's the men that you're attracting. So you have to kind of look within yourself and be attentive on the way that you carry yourself, because if you want men to love you and respect you and honor you and treat you like Christ loves the church, then you're going to have to represent yourself as that woman. You can't, every time a man holler at you, you no, like, you gotta be real. Like, you gotta, like a princess, like, no thank you. Like, you have to be that girl. Like, you gotta let these men know, like, you can't just be open for everybody, and especially for women on social media. I believe I'm gonna get to that part about shamefacedness in the next chapters. But shamefacedness on social media, you have so many women, and this is why I don't really like being on social media, especially Facebook, because there be so much madness on there. You have women on there, posing in lingerie, twerking, like doing like nasty stuff. And it's just like, okay, well, if y'all want a good man, if y'all keep on making posts and sharing y'all thoughts on Facebook or Instagram, whatever, and saying that men are crap, then why are you performing like a whore? You can't, it just doesn't mix. To respect yourself, because if you don't, men ain't gonna want to do nothing but hunch on you. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be the one to tell you. They're not gonna want to do nothing but get in between there. That's the only thing they're going to do, because you're representing yourself as that. So, okay. Let me, I'm trying to think of an analogy. If you, no, that ain't no analogy. The whole point is, if you want a good man, if you want a man of the Most High, you're going to have to change you first. You can't keep blaming other men on why you're not getting a good man. Okay? Something has to change. It may be something in you that may like narcissistic men. It may be, you may have a certain spirit, like a Jezebel spirit. It's seductive, which she is seductive. She likes to trap men. She likes to show off her beauty. She likes validation. That's a real spirit that men and women can deal with. So you have to go off and heal. And then when that time is right, it will be right. But in the meantime, you have to get you together. But anyways, let's go back, because I won't be long. So, practical ways to pursue modesty. So, for women, modesty is not a mindset. Not only a mindset, it becomes practical through clothing choices. Different believers apply modesty differently, but for those who feel called to more covered feminine standard clothing can be chosen in the way that emphasizes dignity rather than body shape. Some women choose to avoid tight clothing that clings to every curve, short shorts that expose the thighs, pants or leggings that are strong for the outline of the body, low-cut tops that reveal cleavage, sheer garments that expose underneath. Instead, they may pursue modesty through clothing such as loose skirts that allow movement without outlining the figure, flowing dresses that cover respectfully while remaining beautiful, longer hems below the knees and ankles, loose blouses with higher necklines. So if you guys do get my book and y'all want to understand some ways that you can, there's so many different examples in this book on how you can dress. And for a lot of women, some people in the truth as well, that, you know, identify themselves as Israelites, some women do not wear pants. Now, I do believe that you can wear pants and skirts and dresses, but the pants, it shouldn't be like exposure, you know, like you would know, like more baggier pants maybe, or boot cut pants, stuff like that, or around the house. There has been different speculations, and I remember this sister did make a point that had me like thinking too, like, you know, some people say, well, women, you know, they can't wear pants because in Deuteronomy it talks about how the women cannot wear a man's attire. But the different times and generations of clothing has changed. So when you go in the store, you will obviously know the men's section and you will know the women's section. So you will know what's women clothes and what's not man clothes. But everybody has different understandings. But basically, what I was saying, yeah, like the boot cut pants or something like that, something loose, not too showy, not too but anyways, the sister, she made a good point. She said, well, you know, us women, we mainly either wear like biker shorts or tights under our dresses and our skirts. So if we cannot wear pants at all, period, then should we exempt that from not wearing that under, you know, your skirts and your your dresses? So I feel like if that's the case, then we shouldn't be wearing them at all, period. But like I said, everybody has different understandings. But what I would say is, if you do believe in wearing pants, maybe wear pants that aren't so showy, so tight, maybe more loose fitted. And let's see, what else? I said blouses, you know, stuff that don't show your cleavage, that don't show what you got going on in between, you know, under your bra and all of that kind of stuff. So layer outfits that create elegance, coverage, cardigans, shawls, and outer layers for added modesty. The goal is not to be neglected or unfashionable. Modesty can be graceful, modesty can be classy, modesty can be soft and feminine, and modesty can be beautiful. A flowing dress can carry more elegance than something revealing. A loose skirt can communicate confidence without needing exposure. For some women, avoiding pants is personal conviction tied to femininity, consciousness, or interpretation of scripture. Others may practice modesty differently. What matters is sincerity, humility, and a desire to honor God rather than to impress people. The heart should guide the wardrobe. So basically, like I was saying, you know, before when we was talking, modesty isn't just what you are wearing. So like I said before, your face, your character, the fruits that you produce, all of it should match. And I will say that it is important to be modest. It is very important. But it is no different from you being modest and you having a nasty, ugly attitude, a nasty mouth, a nasty like all of that. If you, cause see, although yes, the Most High calls us to be modest, but He also is paying attention to your heart, the way that you think, the thoughts that you're thinking, the way that you carry yourself, the things that you are speaking out of your mouth. Because back then, the Pharisees, what they would do is they would always persecute a person off of their appearance, off of what they're doing on the outside, rather than the heart. And that is where most of us get things mistaken. We'll go on the side of the street, and you know, this world glorifies riches. So they would rather glorify a rich person over a poor person. So you will see a person on the side of the street, and they may be poor, and you may look at them like, I can't trust them. But you would trust a rich person. That talks about that all throughout the Bible. And that's just like the same way if you look at a woman and you be like, you know, she's never going to be saved. So sisters, it's up to us too as well to be able to present ourselves like modest, submissive, holy women. So when other women do see us, they can be like, they may question because they understand what the world standards are. So when you come across a woman that you know that could need help, help her, talk to her, let her know what the scriptures say, instead of being ugly, nasty, mean, and like, you know, she's never gonna be saved, she's never gonna come to the Most High, she's never gonna change her life. You see how she dressing, you see how she look, you know, that's the Christ's whole mission was when he came on the earth, was to save the people that was sick, the needy, the people that need help, not the righteous people. So when we go out and about, let's not judge other people based off of their appearance, because you don't know what the Most High could do in their lives, period, point blank. And a person that is modest and a person that is unmodest, and that person that isn't unmodest have a pure heart, the Most High care more about the person that got a pure heart than what a person got on. Simple as that. So although yes, I don't want y'all to get it twisted, modesty is important, but you also need to make sure that your face, your body, your spirit, everything, all of it match. You know, how you act as a woman, okay? All of it has to match. You cannot be a modern day Pharisee in these times, looking at another sister and be judging and being rude and being nasty because you know what I'm saying, you have some type of resentment or something towards somebody, or you feel like they cannot be saved. That's not the fruits of the spirit at all. We should be more so concerned too on how, if somebody's gonna be saved, or they're gonna make it to the end by the way that if they smoking on drugs, you know, dealing with adultery, dealing with, you know, fornication, dealing with, you know, a spirit of rebellion. These things that we need to care about more too, you know, not just the outside of a person, okay? But let me talking about clearing the closet. So this is something that helped me when I was first starting to take the truth serious, is clearing my closet. Get you a trash bag, okay? Go ahead and dump them clothes out that is revealing. Dump them crop tops, booty shorts, ripped jeans, whatever. Throw them out, okay? Because if you do not remove the temptation is going to keep coming back. Then you're going to make excuses. Oh, one day won't hurt. Oh, it won't hurt. Instead, go ahead and throw them out. Give them to Goodwill, okay? And something that I heard somebody say was that spirits can attach themselves to clothing. So if you are trying to step into a new woman and you know you've been in the club with that romper on, you know you've been out in the streets fornicating, doing all types of madness, smoking weed, getting drunk, and that crop top, you need to throw them clothes out, okay? Because those spirits is just lingering everywhere. So if you can, get them out your house. Move the temptation. The Bible says that whatever is causing you to sin, whatever is causing you to go off, whatever it is, whatever temptation, you have to cut it off. So sometimes growth becomes practical. One of the simplest ways is to begin dressing differently, is to change what is available in your closet. If every option you own reflects an old mindset, old attention-seeking habits, or identity you're trying to leave behind, it can be harder to walk in a new version of yourself. That is why some women begin removing clothing that no longer aligns with their value. Items that feel overly revealing, pieces chosen mainly to provoke attention, seductive outfits tied to old seasons, clothes that no longer reflect peace or dignity, garments that constantly pull you back into insecurity or performance. Some choose to throw certain items away. Some choose to donate wearable items. Some repurpose pieces through layering or alterations. I don't know what I can tell today. This is not about shame. It is about transition, okay? Just as people clean homes with beginning a new chapter, sometimes the closet needs to be cleansed too. Your wardrobe can support your growth, and in your closet, you see options that reflect modesty, confidence, elegance, and becomes easier to dress in alignment with your convictions. Replace old patterns with new choices. Okay, so I do have like prayers as well. I know I don't never say them because I feel like prayers can be something personal. You can do on your own, but there are prayers in here as well for each like chapter and stuff like that, and reflections. Maybe I should read. I'm gonna read the reflection. Are the clothes in your closet tied to an old identity? Does your wardrobe support or values or fight them? What would a peaceful closet look like for you? So what does that look like for you? You know, everybody has a different perspective on how their closet should look, what they should be wearing. I feel like you would know what's immodest and modest because it will convict you if it's modest or unmodest or not. Or sometimes it may take other people to, you know, help you understand what is and what is not, you know, so modest. But modest outfits, ideas, and covering with grace. Pursuing modesty does not mean dressing without beauty or creativity. It simply means styling yourself with dignity, femininity, and wisdom. There are many elegant ways to dress modestly while still looking polished and attractive. Pair loose tops with flowing skirts or soft blouses with maxi skirts, loose sweaters with long skirts, and cooler weather are button-up tops and ankle-length skirts. Simple fitted at the shoulder tops or looser skirts that do not cling. Loose dresses can be beautiful and effortless. Maxi dresses with sleeves, A-line dresses with skin rather than hug the body, layered dresses with cardigans, loose linen dresses with warmth weather, long dresses with belts worn loosely if desired. Accessories can add beauty without immodesty. Head wraps, scarves, simply jewelry, or elegant flats, modest heels, or structured bags or soft totes. They can add elegance, femininity, and intentionality to an outfit. Many women who wear head coverings as spiritual practice. The Holy Bible discusses women covering their heads while praying or prophesying in a church context. Believers interpret and apply this message differently today, but many women see head coverings and scarves or wraps as a sign of reverence or order or modesty or personal conviction. For some, it is also a reminder of spiritual focus belonging to God. So, all praise to the Most High. Next chapter, we're going to be on purity. And let me see how many chapters we got left. So we got four more after that, and we'll be done. And like I said, I'm only reading certain parts. I'm not reading the full chapter just to give a sample to sisters. But anyways, basically, yeah, so head covering. So a lot of you may see my head covering. For the people that may not identify themselves as Israelites or understand biblically that we are supposed to wrap our heads, will think that you may be Muslim or something like that. But in Corinthians, it talks about head coverings. I do have a video. If y'all go all the way down, you may see it's like the importance of covering your head. So yes, covering your head is, I feel like, a part of modesty and reverence to the Most High. Now, you do not have to cover your head 24/7, but when you are speaking biblically or you are praying or prophesying like it says, then you have to wear a head covering. Or if somebody is speaking about the Bible in respect and reverence of the Most High, wear your head covering, okay? So for the ones that did not know that, but basically, to go ahead and sum up and talk to y'all now, is basically, modesty is not something easy when you're first starting off, but it is possible, because once you start to really realize that the things that you do wear can kind of basically put certain spirits on you and blind you to think that when you see other women that are covered up, that they look like old churchy, or old woman, slave, boring, hot, you too hot, all in all them clothes, laying their clothes. And once you start to do it, you realize, man, I am a real princess, and you will not attract bums anymore. You will not attract nasty men anymore that only want to do anything but just have sex with you. And especially for our younger generational girls. So I want to talk about something real quick, all right? What I want to say is, besides the modesty and stuff like that, is I want to talk about a topic, and I might start doing this after lessons, or if it's something pertaining to the matter. So basically, there has been this song out called Quiet on the Creek from Saucy Santana, and a lot of younger girls have been doing this dance where they're like boosting up their boobs and going like this and going like that, and they don't realize that it's so crazy, because when I tell y'all, pray and ask the Most High for discernment, because I feel like that is a huge part of dignity and respect for yourself. Because if you do everything that the world does in every single pattern, bro, you're going to be so deceived by Satan. You're doing things that you ain't got no business. So tell me why. Okay, so when this song first started coming out, you know, on TikTok, you don't hear everything. And this song was like trending, and every time I would scroll, I would hear this Quiet on the Creek jump. And I was like, something was convicting my spirit that something is not right about what he's saying. And then I would try to go and look up. I'm like, what the heck does Quiet on the Creek mean? And something like, when you just sit and you like hear the Most High's voice, and it was convicting me that this song is about silencing yourself for sexual assault. So we obviously know that Saucy Santana is no, he's not transgender. He is, you know, G-A-Y. I'm not condemning this brother. I hope he does come to repentance, because, you know, a lot of people do what they do because they have been hurt, they've been touched on, something happened when they were younger, and they carry it to when they're older. So if you would like see the videos where he explained like he has been sexually assaulted, and I remember I was watching Deshae and him, and they was like actually at a creek, and he was talking about how somebody, his uncle, something, you had to be quiet on the creek. But before he even explained it, before I knew what it meant, I was like, I know that something is not right about it, and I felt like it was about children, sexual assault, and rape. So, you know, you have to be careful what you're saying, because he's normalizing and setting an agenda for children or people in general to be okay with sexual assault. So when you are seeing things, I feel like that's also important, as reverence and modesty, is to not follow every single thing that this world is doing, because you don't know what they're saying. And if you're not having discernment and you just doing all of that and Quiet on the Creek, you don't even know what these people talking about. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be careful what you engage in, because then that sets a spirit in you. So I just want to put that out there, because I see it trending everywhere, and you know, and we're normalizing sin, and it's just like Sodom and Gomorrah. We normalize sin, we think all of these things is okay, and it's so sad. Like, this generation is so sad. But anyways, with that, I just want to say shalom, and in the next chapter, we're going to be talking about purity, and yeah, so hopefully you guys took something from it, and I just want to say shalom, love y'all, and share this with a sister that you feel like could use it. And with that, so say shalom.